Be'ez Hashem Yisboch, we begin Perek Shein, the second chapter in the Rambam's Hilchos Yesodei, that turn the laws of the foundation of the Torah in the Sefer Mad in the Book of Knowledge, which we continue to think of the previous Perek, which opened up the Mishneh Torah, these halachas regarding the knowledge of Hashem, which in this Perek we discuss regarding loving of Hashem, the fear of Hashem, and the recognition of Hashem. As Rambam begins halacha up regarding this mitzvah of loving and fearing Hashem. Hakel hanichbad ba'anoyer hazeh, as we described in the previous Perek, this honorable and awesome God, mitzvah la'avo liyir'oisa. There's a mitzvah to love Him and to fear Him. Shlomo says in the pasuk, "V'after es Hashem lakecha, you shall love Hashem your God." And then, like it says in the pasuk, "Es Hashem lakecha tira, Hashem your God you should fear." Halacha beis, v'heiche aderech la'avosa b'yir'oisa, and what's the way to love Him and to fear Him? So b'shoshi's b'ino od b'maisa, by the time when the person contemplates and reflects on his actions, uveruv in his creations, hanaflom agdom that are wondrous and that are so great, v'yirim hem chachmasa, and he sees from them his wisdom, shein lo erich v'lokates, which is there's no qualifying it and there's no end to it. V'yad hu ayiv, immediately he loves u'mishabeach u'mafara, and he praises and he exalts u'misava taiba g'doyle, and he has a great desire leid to Hashem HaGadol, to know the great name. Like David HaMelech says in Tehillim, Tzama nafshi le'elokim, my soul thirsts for God, le'kel chayv, the living God. Now, when he thinks and contemplates regarding these things themselves, so right away he trembles backwards, and he's afraid, and he trembles. He knows he's a small creature, dark and lowly, that he stands with a small amount of and a very light intelligence, in front of the complete one of knowledge. Like David HaMelech says, when I see your heaven, the handiwork of your fingers, then it says later, who is man to recall him? Like we see how small we are in this infamestical greatness of God. Now, based on these words that we're saying, by contemplating, realizing that the incredible wisdom and nature of God, you come to love Him and to fear Him, says the Rambam, so I'm going to explain some great rules from the actions of the Master of the worlds, maybe that there should be an opening for the one who understands Hashem, to love Hashem, the way the sages say regarding love, that through the understanding and the contemplation of God's Torah and His mitzvahs, you're going to recognize the one who said, and then there was the world. So Halacha Gimel begins these klolim of the Maisa of Hashem. Whatever God created in His world, is split into three different parts. Mehem, you have those that are beruyim, that are creatures, that are connected from the form and the matter. The Heim Hoivim v'Nifsadim Tamid, and they were constantly coming into being and coming out of existence. Like the beings of men and animals, Vatzmachim and the sprouts, Bahamatoches and the metals, which those are the four types of creations on this planet, which generally it's said in the opposite order, which is Doimim, that which is mineral, Tzaimeich, sprouts, Chai, a living creature like animals, and Medaber, which is the human being. Now, that's one type. Umihem, and then you have another type. Beruyim shem b'chubarim agoyim metzura. Yeah, these are creatures that are formed from matter and form. Aval in mashtanim meguf leguf. But they don't change from body to body, matzura to from form to form, like the original ones, because when a human being dies, so then they disintegrate and it goes back to being earth, and then whatever other elements go elsewhere, and then it creates another form and constantly goes back and forth. These don't change from body to body and from form to form like the first type, like the first category. Rather, their form is permanent in their matter forever. They don't change like the first category. They're the spheres, and the stars and the planets that are inside these spheres. Now, their matter is not like all other matter, and their form is not like all other forms. Now, the third category, mihem, which is the highest, they're created with form, but no matter at all. They're what we call the malachim. They're not a body or corporal. Rather, they're different forms that are different one from the other. Now, halacha dalet, so mao zeh sha'anavim ma'imr. So what's this, the prophets that they say? Shiro hamalach eish ubal kanafayim, that they saw the malach, that's fire and is winged. I thought they don't have a body. So hakol b'ma'anei nevuah, but everything is in the vision of the prophecy and through a parable. Loimet to say, it's representing an idea, the way we said in the previous paragraph regarding Hashem, she'ein guf, that he's not a body, meaning ve'ein kovid kagufos hakvedim, and therefore the malach is not heavy like the way bodies are heavy, meaning like water or like earth. Rather they're light, like fire and like wind. But again, it's all a mushal just to explain. Commissioner Mike says in the pasuk in the bottom, because Hashem your God, eish oichlu, he's a consuming fire. Not the God's fire. It's representing that idea. But eish, not fire, a mushal. Rather, it's a parable. Commissioner Mike, it says in the pasuk in Tehillim, oisem malachim bruches. He makes his malachim wind. So again, that's the idea that they're light like wind, but again, they don't have and they are not physical. Now, then the question becomes, so what separates these forms one from the other? But they're not bodies. The Rambam explained in Perek Aleph that what separates is physical. So how are they separate? Because they're not the same in their reality. Each one is lower than the level of the other. And is actually, it comes into being from his power, one above the other one. Now they all ultimately come into reality from the power of HaKadosh Baruch Hu and his goodness. This is what Shlomo alluded to in his wisdom, and he said, a pasuk in Kelis, because higher upon higher is it watching and protecting. That's the layers and levels, and that's what differentiates malachim, even though there's no physical body. Now, halacha vav, they're qualifying this that we said, that's beneath the level of the other one, the other malach. Ain't a malas makam. It's not a level of space and place. Like a person that sits above his friend. Rather, it's like when you talk with two sages. They say one is greater than his friend in wisdom. That we say that his level is higher than the level of the other one, but it doesn't mean in physical height. Like you say regarding a cause, and all of that, it's above what's coming out from that cause. It's a description, but not an actual physical reality. Halacha Zayin. Now, the different names that the malachim have, al shem alasamu, is because of their levels, like we spoke about. Therefore, they're called Chayes HaKodesh, the holy Chayes. They're the highest of all of the malachim. And then you have going downwards, Vayifanim, Ve'elim, V'chashmalim, U'shrafim, U'malachim, Ve'lihim, U'benelihim, U'keruvim, Ve'ishim. These are the different names that we have that malachim are given. We call Elu Asar Hashemes, Shenikru by malachim. These are the 10 names that malachim are called by. Hashem, Eser Malish Shalahem, because of the 10 levels that there are in the different types of malachim. U'malash Ein Lamalah Mimenu. Now, the level that there's none above that, Elamala Sekel, and only the one that's above that type of malach is the level of God. Baruch Hu, blessed be He. He Mailis Hatzurah Shenikas Chayis. That's the level of the form that we said that the highest one is of the malachim is the one that's called Chayis. And therefore it says we're going to, in prophecy, that they're beneath the God's throne of glory because they're the highest thing closest to God. Now, Umayla Asiris, the 10th level, the lowest one, he Mailas Hatzurah Shenikas Ishim. That's the level of the form that's called Ishim. They're the malachim that speak with the prophets. And then the ones that appear to them in the vision of their prophecy. Therefore they're called Ishim because of the word Ish, of man. Because their level is close, a little bit above the level of the intelligence of the human being. Now all these forms, Chayim, they live, they recognize the Creator, and they know God with a great consciousness very much. Every form of the Malach, whichever level it is, according to its level, not according to its greatness. Now, even the highest, the first level, cannot fully comprehend the truth of the Creator as He is. Rather, its consciousness is too short to comprehend and to really know. But it does comprehend and know more than what the level of the Malach beneath it comprehends and knows. So to every single level. Until the lowest, the 10th level. It also knows God with consciousness. that no power of any human being that's connected from matter and form, from body and soul, could comprehend and know as that malach. But no one knows the Creator as he knows himself. Halacha test. Now, all beings, except for the Creator, from the first form, meaning the highest, which is the Chayes HaKodesh, until the smallest mosquito, the smallest fly, that will be in the center of the earth, they all come from the power of His truth. That's how they exist. Now, since God knows Himself, and He recognizes His greatness and His splendor and His truth, so He knows everything. And there's nothing that is hidden from Him. Now, Halacha Yud continues regarding the knowledge of Hashem. HaKadosh Baruch Hu Makar Mita, the Holy One, blessed be He, recognizes His truth. And He knows it as it is. Now, He doesn't know it with a knowledge which is extrinsic, outside of Him. On the earth, like we know, us and our knowledge are not one thing. We learn things from comprehending from what's outside of us. But the Creator, blessed, who, Him, His knowledge, v'chayev, His life, echad, it's all one. Mikol tzad, from all sides, mikol pina, from all corners, any way of unifying, it's all one. Because if He would live in life, he would know things which is from beyond Him, like the way we know, then there would be many gods. Who, Him, B'chayev, and His life, B'daita, and His awareness. That's not the case. He's one from all sides, from all corners, and all ways of unification. If you say that He's the only one, this only thing is Him, it comes that you say, He's the one who knows. He is what is known, He's the knowledge. He's the one that is being known. But the Atzman, He's the knowledge itself. It's all one. But such a thing in the mouth does not have the power to say that, and neither does the ear have the ability to hear it. Neither does the heart of man have the ability to truly recognize this idea. Now, therefore, since He's all one, the pasuk says, for example, in Bereshis, "Chei Parai," by the life of Parai He swears, or like it says in the pasuk Shmuel Aleph, "Chei Nafshecha," and by the life of your soul. Now, that's by Parai or by a person, but we don't find the pasuk say by the life of Hashem. Elachai Hashem, which means like the living God, because He is life and life is Him. He's the source of all life. Because the Creator and His life is not two, like the life of the way a physical matter lives, like the life of malachim. So He doesn't recognize the creations and to know them machmas habaruim because of that their creations on the earth, like we know them. No, He knows them from Himself, because He knows Himself. So since He knows Himself, like we said, so He knows everything. Because everything is dependent on His own existence, and that's how He knows everything. Halacha Aleph, regarding describing what we're talking about in these two parakim of the Maisim Akava, so Dvarim Elu Shamarnu Be'inyan Zeh. These things that we spoke about in this topic, B'shnei Parakim Elu, in these first two chapters, they're like a drop of water from the sea. Is that what you have to explain from this topic? The explanation of all these principles that we discussed in these two chapters, this is what's called, in the words of the sages, the axe of the chariot, because it refers to the chariot that Yecheskel saw, which was revealed to him, the vision of God, which even though he didn't actually see a chariot, but since he saw a vision that was beneath the Kisei HaKavod, the four chayos, which is in the form of a Merkava, which has four wheels, so therefore it's called Meister Merkava, but it means to say regarding the understanding of the greatest Kabbalistic secrets of the world itself, of the metaphysical understanding of the world. Halachiyat Beis. Now, Tzivah Chacham Rishonim, the earlier sages commanded, Shloi Lidrish B'dvar Me'elu, not to expound on these things, El Ish Echad Levad. One should only expound on it to an individual person. V'uen, that is, Shi Chacham, he should be wise, u'mev and to understand things on his own understanding. And then, you give him over the primary chapter headings, And you let him know just a smidgen, a little bit from this topic. And he'll understand from his own understanding. And he'll know the end of this thing and its depth. And these things are things that are very deep. And not every type of consciousness and intelligence is appropriate to be able to tolerate and to be able to carry these ideas. And regarding these things, Shlomo said in his great wisdom, in the way of a parable, the pasuk says in Mishneh, "Kavasim l'vushecha," which literally means to say lambs for your clothing, because we take the wool and we make our garments out of it. But this is what the sages said in explaining this parable. The word kvasim could be read kavashim with a sin, not a sin. Regarding these things that are the secrets of the world, yulul v'rshecha, they should be for your clothing. In other words, only for you. They should be what you dress yourself in. But don't expound them in public. This is what it says in the pasuk in Mishneh, it should be only for you, and no foreigner should be with you. This is what it says in Shir Hashirim, honey and milk beneath your tongue. This is what the earliest sages explained. These things that are like honey and like milk, these great secrets of the world, should be beneath your tongue, meaning it should only be for the person himself and not to share with the masses.